The town of Hollow Creek had always held its breath. It was a place where shadows stretched long and secrets whispered on the wind. For generations, tales of the shadow haunted their dreams. A figure born of sorrow, they said, lost and searching, forever bound to the woods beyond their doors. Old Mrs. Hawthorne, her eyes like milky stones, told of its mournful cries. She claimed it was a mirror to their deepest fears. A chilling reminder that some sins could never be outrun. Most dismissed it as folklore, but the children of Hollow Creek knew better. They felt its presence in the stillness between heartbeats. There were three: Sam, the skeptic, always challenging the darkness with a spark of defiance in his eyes. Then came Emily, the cautious one, her gaze always searching for the hidden truth. And finally there was Daniel, the dreamer, easily lost in the world of whispered stories. They were the best of friends, bound by a childhood spent in the shadow of the woods.
One humid August evening, a dare was thrown, a test of courage. We would venture into the woods seeking proof of the shadow's existence.
Sam, fueled by bravado, accepted instantly. I, hesitant but loyal, followed suit.
And me, a mixture of fear and fascination swirling within, simply nodded.
As twilight bled into night, they crossed the threshold. The air grew heavy, thick with the smell of damp earth and decaying leaves. The playful sunlight of the meadow was gone, replaced by an oppressive darkness that seemed to cling to their skin. Each rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig, sent shivers down their spines. Deeper they ventured, the familiar woods transformed into something sinister. The trees, once sources of shade and comfort, now loomed over them like gnarled claws. The path, once so clear in their childhood games, seemed to twist and turn, leading them further astray. The forest had them in its grip. A chill wind swept through the woods, carrying with it a whisper, a sigh that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once.
Turn back, it seemed to murmur. Turn back while you still can.
But the trio pressed on, their youthful curiosity battling against the rising tide of fear. The mist swirled around their ankles, cold and damp, and in its shifting forms they saw shapes. A fleeting glimpse of a hunched figure just beyond the reach of the moonlight. The flicker of what could only be eyes, watching them from the darkness.
It's just tricks of the light and shadows.
Emily, her hand clutching her silver locket for comfort, wasn't so sure.
Daniel, his heart pounding in his chest, knew they were no longer alone. Section 5. The Mansion of Secrets. And then they saw it. Emerging from the mist like a phantom, an old mansion stood before them. Its windows were dark, vacant eyes staring out at the encroaching night. The once grand facade was now weathered and overgrown, consumed by ivy and neglect. It was a place forgotten by time, yet it pulsed with an eerie sense of life. A single flickering light emanated from a top-floor window, like a beacon in the oppressive darkness. Drawn by an unseen force, they approached. The crunch of their footsteps on the gravel, the only sound that dared to break the silence. The air grew colder as they neared the mansion, a sense of dread settling upon them like a shroud. This was a place where secrets whispered and the past refused to die. Section 6. Portraits of the Past. The heavy oak door creaked open as if inviting them into its silent embrace. Inside, the mansion was a labyrinth of shadows and dust-filled sunbeams. Cobwebs, spun thick with age, draped the furniture like ghostly shrouds. On the walls hung portraits, their eyes following the trio's every move. Each face seemed to hold a flicker of sadness, a story untold. One portrait in particular drew their attention. A young man with haunted eyes stared back at them, his expression a mixture of pain and longing. He looked strangely familiar, like a forgotten memory struggling to surface. As they stared at the portrait, the flickering light from upstairs suddenly went out, plunging them into absolute darkness. Panic gripped them. The silence was deafening, broken only by the sound of their own ragged breathing. Then a voice, low and mournful, echoed through the halls.
Who disturbs the peace of the forgotten?
Sam stumbled back, fear finally extinguishing his bravado. Emily, clutching her locket, whispered a silent prayer. A figure began to emerge from the shadows, its form indistinct in the darkness. As it moved closer, they could make out the outline of a man, tall and gaunt, his features obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. The shadow. It was real. They stood frozen, caught between the urge to flee and the strange compulsion to understand the sorrow that emanated from this being.
Don't be afraid, I mean you no harm.
The figure stepped into a sliver of moonlight, revealing not a monster, but a man. His face, though etched with sorrow, held a strange familiarity. He looked remarkably like the man in the portrait.
I am not what you think. I am bound to this place, cursed to wander these halls for eternity. I seek only peace, a way to break free from this torment.
His words hung in the air, a plea for understanding that resonated deep within their hearts. The fear that had gripped them began to dissipate, replaced by a wave of empathy. This was not the monster of their childhood nightmares, but a soul in pain. The shadow's tale unfolded like a forgotten lullaby. He had once been a man of flesh and bone, a painter consumed by his art. In life, he yearned to capture the essence of the human soul on canvas. But his ambition, fueled by a desire for recognition, had led him down a dark path. He made a deal, trading a piece of his soul for the talent to create masterpieces. The price of his success was high. His paintings, infused with stolen magic, became windows into the depths of his despair, trapping him within their frames for eternity. The key to breaking the curse, he revealed, lay hidden within the very paintings that held him captive. He needed someone to see beyond the paint and canvas, to understand the story behind the brushstrokes. With newfound purpose, they set to work. Sam, his skepticism replaced by a fierce determination, examined the paintings with a critical eye. Emily, her intuition guiding her, pieced together the fragments of the painter's life from the hidden details within each canvas. Daniel, lost in the emotions woven into every brushstroke, felt the painter's pain as if it were his own. And as the first rays of dawn pierced through the dusty windows, they found it, a small, almost imperceptible detail hidden within the final masterpiece, a symbol of regret, a plea for forgiveness. With trembling hands, they rearranged the paintings, aligning the symbol, creating a visual representation of the painter's remorse. As the last painting fell into place, a blinding light filled the mansion. When they could see again, the shadow was gone. The curse was broken. The mansion, no longer shrouded in shadows, stood bathed in the warm glow of the rising sun. As they stepped out into the daylight, they knew that the woods of Hollow Creek would forever be changed. The whispers on the wind now carried a note of peace, a testament to the enduring power of empathy, courage, and the redemptive power of forgiveness. And in the heart of the town, a legend was rewritten. The shadow, once a symbol of fear, was now remembered as a soul finally set free.